Oh my God, he's so sweet. Look at the fabulousness. He just throws on a blue sweater and looks fabulous no matter what.
Your blow dry looks fucking amazing today.
Guess what? I haven't washed my hair in 2 weeks.
Shit, girl.
It's called chemical cut, my friend.
Oh no, that does give you that good volume though.
It sure the fuck does, doesn't it?
That bleaching tone life queen.
I love that you know that. Jonathan Van Ness is joining me. You guys, the book is called Over the Top, A Raw Journey to Self-Love. I just mentioned before you came in and I have this show, I love to talk about self-love. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about, self-love. And how if you asked me 25 years ago what self-love was, I thought it was masturbating.
Apparently in Britain, that's what it means. And so that's why, if you're wondering why the title of my book in the UK is Over the Top, My Story, it's because Raw Journey to Self-Love was like, it sounds like you're jerking off with no lube over there. So that's, yeah. And I don't know if that's too intense for this channel. No, it's not. It's fine, right? Oh my God, I love you so much.
You could say whatever the fuck you want. I mean, there's on the cover of the book, there are 5 of you. Do you have nicknames for each one of them?
No, but I originally, they're kind of like the different aspects of like who I kind of wanted to talk about in the book. But originally I wanted to write the book from like the perspective of like how I see the different parts of my personality. And then I realized like that was really hard and confusing for me to like figure out how to do. So I was like, oh, no, I'm just gonna like write it. Like I'm just gonna write it. But that's like where I got that idea to do like the different versions of myself on the front of the book.
Oh, I love that idea. And
Thanks.
You know what? Let me ask you how you, basically, because it's the book, but how and what was the moment where you realized you knew what self-love meant?
I think that's actually like an ever-evolving answer that I think I'm always like figuring out like how I can like self-soothe and like love myself like better, and I like continually like take better care and like and forgive and find compassion for, because like I think that is like such an ever-evolving like question. But like the moment when I knew what self-love is, I think it's when I realized as an adult that like my job as an adult is to be like my own parent and caretaker that like I felt that I always like wished that I would have had, and realizing that like anything that I've been through is like it is where it is, and now it's like my job to like self-soothe like for the rest of my time. So I don't know exactly when that was, and if I'm cussing you out about something in the meantime, sorry that I forgot what self-love was for the second. So, it really is like an ever-evolving journey.
I love that. It's called We're All Human. Mm-hmm. And so, Over the Top, I'm going to plug the book again because I want a lot of people to buy it. Over the Top, A Raw Journey to Self-Love. That's what's so great about radio. We can really dive into this. Can you describe your relationship with your mom for me, John?
Sure. My mom is like amazing, and she is a brilliant journalist and tech understander, and really just someone who has given me the space to be myself. And she's been one of my biggest cheerleaders, while being also like, I just think that, raising a young queer child, I was born in 1987, and like in a time, in the midst of the HIV/AIDS crisis that was, really, really dire, and the epidemic is still in a situation that is not good, but especially then it was like much more dire. And so I think for her, seeing me be so over the top and seeing me be so into like everything that I was into, like in so many ways, like she loves me, and that was so fun for her. And she really encouraged me to be myself. But also I think it's how, for the position that she was in, to like protect me and the same time as like nurturing me in the world that I was brought into, I think was a really difficult line for her to walk. And I just am so proud of her and how she walked it. And I just, I love her so much. But there's also no one that I've ever fought with more, or like called a bitch more, or like, we really like, we go like this, but we're just so similar. Like every good thing about myself is like because of my relationship with my mom, but we like think very similarly, and we're like similarly like curious about the world. So we can have like a relationship.
It sounds like she's the ultimate reflection, like a mirror to learn from.
She is. She is. Yes, except for like she like golf is to her what figure skating and gymnastics is to me. So we have very different like sport ideas.
Was your mom surprised when you came out, or she was like, "I know, dear"?
Oh no, she was like, I think I remember the first time telling her, I was like in like 6th grade, or like saying like, And her first response was like she put this book on my door the next morning, like in front of my bedroom, that said "openly gay, openly Christian." She was like really worried about my relationship with Jesus after coming out, which not to but like that was her biggest thing. She's like,
Of course.
she's like, I baptized you, so I made a covenant with God to make sure that like you stay just right and with Jesus. So we got to do. And I was like, wow, Mom, this is so intense. And you know what? My gown wasn't even cute. You really had me in this. It was not even fierce. And, so if you really want to break down like all that baptism stuff, I forgot what I was saying.
She was
now.
concerned. I get that she concerned about the fact, because that is definitely a sign of the times. I don't think parents are as much maybe as back then of like, what are you going to do? You might burn in hell, and I've got to make sure that I'm, protecting you, and then I don't join you.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like my mom is like, I don't think she ever felt like that she was in like, whether or not I was like living as like, my life, being gay, I don't think that she's always been like of the mind that like God knows your heart. And if, that has always been her thing. I just think that she was concerned about like me moving away from my relationship with my faith because of the intense homophobic messages that I was receiving like from the church. And to be totally honest, I mean, she was kind of a part of that, because that church was so much, especially in that time of like, I love you, I just don't agree with your lifestyle. And like, maybe you could have civil unions or something, but marriage is, a sanctity, gorgeous thing between only one man and one woman. And we all know the sanctity of marriage has been, observed by heterosexual people over the last thousands of years, just really, even going back to King What's-His-Face with divorce beheaded died, divorce beheaded survived. The sanctity of marriage, we've really just been giving it so much respect for so many years. So it's like, I love my mom so much, and she's had such an evolution on like, I think, where she thinks of things, but her heart has never been one of not loving me, and not, she was like more worried like where I could go because of negative influences that are associated, misconceptions that are associated with LGBTQ people.
I love your mom. I'm loving the way you're describing her. She sounds like a mom I would want in this situation for sure. You also wrote about your body image in high school. Did you have an eating disorder?
Well, it's funny. After I did the New York Times article interview, when we were doing the fact checking, in the first bunch of questions that they sent back to fact check, they were like, "Is it fair to say that you discuss binge eating in this book?" And I was like, "Did I? I guess I was like, "Is like Pop-Tarts and Taco Bell and like countless powdered donuts, does that count?" So like, I guess yes, I do. I did. I think I did suffer from disordered eating, and I think that I did have a binging relationship with food. I talk about binging and purging in the book. I talk about I did talk about because I had a relationship with binging and purging in the book, and for me I think that it was like my relationship with disordered eating and body image is like, I kind of the purging part of my binging and purging story, like when I realized that it was like going to mess up my face, I was like, oh, I can't because I burst like these like little capillaries in my eyeballs, and like it was like messing up my little baby face. So I really only had like a 2 month, like three, like it wasn't that gorgeous. I was like, I'm just going to eat a bunch and then I'm going to go work out. And so I am in a place in my adulthood where like I love my body. I appreciate my body for like everything that it does for me. But I do think that like, my relationship with how I've viewed my body and talked about my body and how I view body positivity is like always kind of changing. And I think I'm always like kind of realizing a lot about how I've like soothed with food and stuff around that. But
But it's also another sign of self-love too, that you said, I appreciate all my what my body does for me, and to even go work out is a sign of self-love.
Oh my God, yeah, and I just feel so great from it. But I just think that also, socially and culturally, we've had such narrow ideas of like what beautiful is, like kind of given to us.
Yep.
And so I think that is like another thing that I am so happy to be part of that conversation, because like there are so many different beautiful body shapes that are like desirable and sought after and should be celebrated and lifted up and seen as sexy and seen as fuckable and seen as just as sexy as like I want, like, why can't someone who looks like me like be seen in the same way that someone who's like someone like an Antony. I don't understand like why one would be in an underwear shoot and the other one like wouldn't be.
Right.
And even take someone past me, like why can't I see like a gorgeous sexy bear who's just got like a nice fuck, you know, like let me see. I want to see him in like a fucking gorgeous Hanes ad. Like
I want to hear that
we?
voice again. I want that fucking.
Yeah,
sexy
I want to see a
bear.
sexy bear on a Hanes ad with his nice hairy pecs everywhere and his, you know, robust, gorgeous body.
Tell me about, you know, I want to see myself in a crepe, like the crepey ass fucking wrinkles in a, I don't know, a sexy Carl's Jr.
Why
commercial.
can't
Okay.
we? I want to like let me eat a fuck. I want to see my ass. Well, I think Carl's Jr. had like a homophobic thing a while ago, but why can't I have my ass and my non-binary ass up on that convertible eating an Impossible Burger, like, you know, slow motioning like honey mustard on myself, you know?
I love you so much. I feel like I want to go out and have drinks with you.
Me too. I always have so much fun when we talk.
I just adore you. I know we only have a couple minutes left, so I want to sell this book because we have a good book buying audience. So tell people why they should buy Over the Top, A Raw Journey to Self-Love. Give it to them, Jonathan.
Well, I think that this is like the most intimate thing I've ever done. It's the riskiest piece of work that I've ever made. It is really like an uninterrupted, like 288 pages of my voice, kind of interpreting like how I've experienced the world and everything that I have taken in to show like how I experience the world. There's a lot of things that I talk about on how I experienced my relationship with my mom, parenting, body image, without hitting you over the head with it, like things that I have done to kind of help myself get through it. But I think the thing that so far, like maybe if you've, you know, seen things from the New York Times, or if you've heard about, you know, me coming out about my HIV positive diagnosis or whatever else you've heard about the headlines from the book, this book is so full of humor and life and voice. And like, you will cry, but then you will like drop your coffee laughing like 2 sentences later. Like it really is, it is the humor and the light and the energy, I think really has been a little bit missed by the press because there are like really big headlines on it, and those are important. We do have to talk about those, but this isn't a book where you're going to be like left feeling sad. You will be hopeful. You will be very invigorated for the 2020 election. And you know, and that's part of like why, and not in a nasty, like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about the election, but it's really important to understand that for LGBTQ plus people, why the issues that are important to us are so important to us, because our experience in life and the ways that we are marginalized shapes how we see the world. And this is only my experience of that, but it is fun and it is light, but it is also serious and touching, and it really is a full spectrum of who I am. And I think, and I'll almost be done because I know that we have to go soon, is like, so many people, like their first question when they're talking about the book is like, you know, you seem like such this happy person on Queer Eye, and you know, you're just so like bubbly and gregarious and whatever. And almost that because I've talked about the bullying, the hardships, sex work, eating disorder, HIV positivity, that somehow the hard things that I've been through negates the fact that I am a happy person. We are all layered people, and we all experience a whole variety of feelings, from joy to tragedy to pain to, you know, euphoria. We all experience like a whole cornucopia of emotions, and all of those are normal. And this is my basically thesis on the fact that like normal is a myth. And us needing to fall in love with someone else is a myth. The only person who we have to fall in love with is ourselves. Amen. And I just use like Pop-Tarts, gymnastics, figure skating, rocks, stamps as the vehicle for me to fall, and you know, self-care as the vehicle for me to fall in love with myself. So
I love it.
Yes. So
you did
buy
such a good job
it.
of that. So buy it. And you know, it's true. We are the sum of a bunch of parts. We're not just one thing. So I love that you said, you know, don't take just those, you know, headlines. There's so much more to me than just that. And there's so much more to all of us than just one thing.
Yes.
Thank you for writing this book, to be brave enough to be funny and to be, you know, just a leader in your community, making change, my friend.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and same to you. Thank you so much.
Let's go have a drink sometime.
I'm so down.
Dalla Van Ness, the book Over the Top, A Raw Journey to Self-Love. The book is available right now. Thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Be right back.
Thank you. Bye.
Jenny McCarthy Show. Oh!